Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Lee, aka Rollin Thunder, and in today's video we're going to be talking about more updates on the R1. So sit back, relax, grab a cup of tea, and let us get into the video. So ladies and gentlemen, how are we all doing? I hope you're doing well. And as the title of the video suggests, we are talking about more updates on the R1. So without further ado, let us get stuck in and let's begin talking about what we're doing. First of all, I have been suffering with a few vibration issues on the R1. Now I don't know whether that's because I'm not used to the bike, because it's a cross-plane crank motor and it's generally vibey anyway, but like I've said in the previous video, I've reached out to a couple of people on the Yamaha R1 owners forums on Facebook, and they've come up with a few different suggestions, i.e. weighted bar ends, thicker grips, a steering damper, or having a suspension set up. I'm going to go down the route of trying the cheap things first, so I've gone and ordered myself a set of weighted R&G crash bung bar ends. Apparently they're a couple of grams heavier than stock bar ends, so hopefully that will help dumb the vibrations down a little bit. I am also toying with the idea of replacing my stock steering damper with either a Rollin unit or a GPR unit. Now with the Rollin unit, that will fit basically a straight swap for what's currently in the bike now. However, the GPR unit will actually replace, or should I say sit on top of, where my old add-ons GoPro mount is. So it will sit right there. Now I don't really want to go down the GPR route because they are, one, stupidly expensive, two, quite bulky looking, and three, it will take away my rear facing camera, so you guys won't be able to see my lovely face. So I don't really want to go down the GPR route if I can help it. I do know, however, that Hyperpro make a steering damper that's very similar to the Rollin unit, but I think about 100 or so quid cheaper. So I may go down that route instead. My only problem is that the Hyperpro unit, if I remember rightly, it is actually not electronically controlled. So I will have to get a steering damper eliminator to basically trick the ECU into thinking that the steering damper is still in place. As with it being electronically controlled, I will get a FI light or warning light on the dash, which is something I could do without. If I remember rightly, the actual steering damper eliminator plug, I think that's about 15-20 quid that I've seen online, which ain't so bad in the grand scheme of things. But if I can keep it so that the steering damper is electronically controlled by the ECU, that will help me in terms of not having to worry about adding different bits onto the bike and tracing wires and all the rest of it, because I've never taken a Big Bang R1 or 14B as people call it apart. The closest I've ever got to doing that is literally taking the fairings off to look for a lost keyring, and obviously fitting the flush mount indicators. I've not done any, proper investigating on the R1 as to what goes where, what plugs into what, and so on. So I'm quite dubious about where everything goes and what everything does and so on. But that's what the internet's for, I guess. So if I get stuck, I can go to good old YouTube, find a video that talks me through what I need to know, and basically go from there. Famous last words. So with any luck, I'll be able to figure out what I need to do and how to do it. Whether or not that works out in that order remains to be seen, but we shall see. I have also decided to invest in a set of braided hoses for the front of the R1, and I've gone with a brand that I never thought I would go with, purely because they're more cost efficient. And you're probably wondering what that brand is. Well, I shall explain. But first, we need some petrol. So give me 2 minutes and I'll be right back with you. Bye bye.
A few moments later.
Oh, you're odd. You're either a bandit or a phaser with a fucking fart cannon on it. Behave yourself. Oh, you're so odd. With your 600-pound bandit. I love it when people fucking try and show off just because they've got a bike with a fucking loud exhaust on it. I mean, I can't talk, but still, get out the road, you prick! Get out the road, you prick! I swear, people around here have got a fucking death wish. So you know, we just think to yourself, do you know what? Nah, not today, boss, not today. Right, so ladies and gents, where were we? Oh yes, these brake lines that I've decided to get. Now, I've never heard of this company before. I've seen them on some people's bikes at my work a couple of weeks ago, and I wasn't too sure about the brand, but after doing a little bit of research and talking to a few people, again, on that lovely platform that is Facebook, I found that this particular company are of the same quality as hell, but almost half the price. I was like, no, you've got to be kidding me. But the more I looked into this particular brand, the more convinced I was that I was making the right choice. And you're probably wondering to yourself, Lee, how do you know? Well, again, that's what the internet's for. And I was lucky enough to find more than a few reviews and installation videos on these particular brake lines, and it turns out that installing said brake lines is actually relatively easy. And by all accounts, according to one of the guys that I've spoken to on the R1 forums, who actually suggested this particular brand, this brand being Wezmoto, that's W-E-Z-M-O-T-O. I first thought when he said Wezmoto, I thought it meant Wemoto, which is the company based in Devon or wherever it is that does aftermarket parts and some OEM parts for certain bikes and certain brands and so on. Like I said, this company is called, or should I say, this brand of brake line is called Wezmoto. And from what I've seen, the actual build quality of the actual brake lines and the banjo bolts and all the fittings and fixings, they actually look almost identical to the Hell lines that I was originally going to get. Now, would you believe that the Wezmoto brake lines, in comparison to Hell, are almost 30 quid cheaper? Well, in actual fact, they're more than 30 quid cheaper off. I think they're about 40 quid cheaper, actually, saying that. And instead of being flashy or gaudy like I did with the 1098 and the Hell lines, I've gone for nice, simple, plain jet black, anodized jet black banjo bolts, anodized connectors, also in black, and plain gloss metallic black lines. So the bike will still look like it's standard, but obviously it had the braided hoses, which will help improve the performance of the brakes. I am also thinking of getting some new brake pads for the R1 as well, as I feel that the pads that are currently in the bike are a little bit dated, a little bit flat and a little bit wooden. So what I'm planning on doing, in addition to new brake lines, new brake pads will also be installed onto the R1, so that everything is nice and fresh. I've also been in contact with Litec about my off-colour clutch lever, oh, excuse me, and I can actually buy them separately where I didn't think I could before. So for me to get a replacement clutch lever for the R1, I'm looking at about 60 quid. I don't know if that includes delivery or not, but either way, 60 quid for a premium clutch lever isn't bad. I've paid more and got less, I'll be honest. What is this dickhead doing? Again, ladies and gentlemen, fucking mopeds in South London, they're absolute dickheads. But anyway, that aside, I was toying with the idea of getting the Akropovich decat link pipe for the R1. Time to go. But I think what I'm going to do is leave her as she is for now, in terms of the actual exhaust system itself, and literally bung a few bits of carbon on her. I want to get a replacement carbon heat shield for the exhaust. I'd also love to get carbon hill plates for this as well, which I know I can do, which I'm going to look into at some point in the very near future. I have also seen that I can get carbon infill panels. It's got Pedrosa Spirit. So that's also another, not necessarily high priority of mine, but still a priority nonetheless. Let's go, baby! I can't see! my eyes are watering. That's kind of where I'm headed in terms of aesthetic parts for the R1. There's obviously loads more that I want to get. Like I want to get mirror blankers, because I just think this looks so much better with no mirrors. I've got a guy that I know through work who's got a very similar aged R1, and it looks fucking amazing. He's done the R1 facelift, so it now looks like a 2014 R1. But I think, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think his R1 is a 2010 R1. It's I don't know what generation it is, but I think it's the second gen 14B with the burgundy frame and burgundy swing arm. If I can find a picture of it, I'll throw it up, obviously keeping his details out of it and so on, because I don't want to be rude to the guy, do you know what I mean? But this particular guy that I know, he is literally the absolute dog's bollocks when it comes to getting stuff and making an R1 look good. He's got, like I said, he's got a 14B like me, but he's also got one of the early 2CR R1Ms, and both of them look and I'm actually kind of jealous, because he's managed to put the new Shape R1 wheels on the old Shape R1, like the ones that are wide spokes, not standard spokes like what I've got. For his bike, like I said, the gold and the burgundy, it just works, do you know what I mean? It just fucking works. If I can find a picture of it, I will obviously put it in the video so you guys can see what I am actually talking about, because like I said, this guy's R1s, they look so good. For the age that they are fucking banging. I can't lie, I'm not gonna lie, I am uber jealous. I don't know what the guy does for a living, but whatever it is, I'd love some of it. But anyway, enough of the jealous talk. I'm still loving the R1, by the way, before anyone starts throwing the spanners into the works and saying, oh, you don't like it no more, you want to get rid of it, meh, meh, meh. Ugh. Excuse me for the runny nose. Hay fever season has well and truly started for me. On the whole, I'm still loving the R1. I want to put my own personal stamp on it, which I'm slowly doing. And I'm starting by the bar ends and the braided hoses. And once I've done that, I've got those out of the way, I will look at other things like bits of carbon, possibly changing the decat to an actual decatted link system, if one becomes available at the right price, obviously. I'm toying with the idea of getting suspension set up professionally for me, either through Dave Moss or through the guys down at RMC, or even potentially going to Steve Jordan's, who are actually suspension specialists. But we'll see how that pans out. I'm just worried that riding the R1 the way I do, I'm going to end up hating riding it because of the pins and needles and the buzziness I'm getting from the handlebars. And I know it's probably something really simple that I can address myself, but it's getting to that point of eliminating those potential issues. I want to be able to turn around and say, do you know what, it's fixed, I've done it. I mean, I'd love nothing more for the R1 to handle like the 1098. That thing, since having it set up using Dave Moss's instructions, fuck me, that thing handles like it's on rails. Even with shitty old tyres on, it still handles like an absolute dream. And actually, with her being a V-twin, she develops her power a bit differently, but it's just, you know, it's planted. It does what she's told. It's compliant. The R1 is like, you know, one of those untamed bucking Broncos that needs to be broken in, and I will get there. I'm hoping to get her all sorted out and set up and whatever else by the time summer hits properly, because I'd like to be able to enjoy my bike, do you know what I mean? I mean, not just the Duke, but the R1 as well. And all these little touches that I want to do to the R1 to make her my own. Like I said, I've started with the simple things like bar ends and braided hoses, and then I'm going to move on to other bits and pieces, like getting it dyno jetted, maybe getting a decat pipe, possibly an ECU flash, a quick action throttle maybe. I know Domino make an absolutely insanely good quick action throttle, but they're not cheap. But like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see how it goes. And as always, ladies and gents, thank you for your continued support. I love having you guys along for the ride and enjoying the content. If you're not a subscriber, please consider subscribing. It would be great to have you on board. And if you are already subscribed, don't forget to smash the like button and ring the bell so you're kept up to date with all new content when it drops. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been absolutely amazing. I have been Lee, aka Rollin Thunder, almost getting run over by a bus, saying look after yourselves, look after each other, stay safe on the roads, be aware of COVID-19, be safe, be happy, and as always, adios.